Hello everyone and welcome back to episode 2 of CottageCraft. This is a super fun episode, so please stick around to the end of the video. Today we're going to be working on my enchanting cottage where we'll be putting my enchanting table, and it's a really fun build and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So if you enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like or subscribing, but before any of that, let's get into the video. On the way back to my cottage, I killed a few pillagers, and I think they're more frequent in this biome because I don't usually see as many as I have done since I started this series. If you know that's true, let me know. Then I went into the mines to try and get a better supply of iron and diamonds. I'm so low on diamonds at the moment, so I'm relying on mostly iron, which meant I needed a good supply of both. It didn't take long before I found a few diamonds, which will come in handy later, and I continued strip mining to see if I could find anything else, eventually coming across some redstone, which might be useful in the future, as well as some lava, which I tried not to let set fire to my things and tried to carry on around it. I knew I needed some lava later though, so I didn't want to completely block it off in case I forgot where it was. I collected a few more diamonds and then found some gold, which might be useful when I want to go trading in the Nether, and then I headed back to the surface. If you watched the last episode, you'll know that my animals and a lot of my crops are across the river from my little cottage, so I needed to build a cute bridge in order to get over there much more easily. I originally thought about building the bridge out of stone, but settled on the dark oak, which I think looks really good, and I can use the logs as the supports for the bridge. I really like the way it turned out, as I wanted to have something with fenced off sides to stop me falling in, but making it also look quite aesthetic and in keeping with my cottage. This is the final result and I think I like it, but could change it in the future. Once the bridge was done, I could head back into the mines to continue with the main aim of today's video. I had already found a pool of lava, so just needed to bring some water to get some obsidian. I don't have any enchantments on my diamond pickaxe yet, so this took an unbelievably long amount of time to mine. However, I'm hoping that once I get the obsidian, I will be able to have some enchantments. I also didn't want to have to keep coming back down to the mine every time I wanted obsidian, as this was really far down in my strip mine and took ages to get back to. So I spent quite a long time collecting lots and lots of obsidian so that I wouldn't need to do that. So here is the incredibly sped up version of me mining the first layer of obsidian I did in this pool of lava. Yes, there was a second one, and yes, it took a very, very long time. And now for the second layer of obsidian. It's so much fun pouring the water over until you realise that you have to then go back to mining it, but I did find some gold underneath this obsidian, which was quite good, and I can add it to my stash of gold. And again, with the amount of mobs spawning in this biome, I swear there are far more pillagers and witches. I definitely do think I've heard of the witches bit before though. Then I went to go and breed some of my cows and my sheep, and look at the little baby one. But as I've been hinting at, I want to craft an enchanting table in this episode, and so I need somewhere really nice to put it. I started by clearing out some of these dark oak trees opposite from my cottage because I want to build another one on this side of the river. Once I started clearing out these trees, I decided that I wanted to continue, so I went over the other side of the river to collect some more dark oak and clean up the area a little bit. You can see some pillagers over there off in the distance, but anyway, this is the area that I cleared out. Not all of this is going to be for the cottage, but I definitely need more space in the future, so I decided to clear a decent chunk. Before I start on the new cottage, I had felt like this area next to my house needed a bit of decoration, and what was better than starting a wheat field that I would be able to expand a lot more in the future. I needed to get some water because I wasn't building it right next to the river, and I added this little decorative patch with one of these new firefly bushes, along with some sugarcane and a little stand that I made to house a torch so that I could light the area up a little bit more. I think it looks like a quite cute idea that I haven't seen before and acts as a little bit of an interruption in the field, which I think you would commonly get in a wheat field anyway. I'm going to massively expand the wheat field in the future as I want it to kind of snake around the house or the incline in the back of the house. I think that that will look really cool, and like I haven't just built the house with no context around it because it's in amongst something that I have made. The next thing I did was begin working on a path on the other side of the bridge because I want to be able to build little cottages either side of it to make it look more like a natural village. I wanted to keep the path at a 2x2, so then started filling in all of these bits that I hadn't done quite the way I wanted it. And I used these tough bricks, which are genuinely one of my favourite blocks. I love all of the different tough variants you can get via. I think they're great for texturing, but also just as a standalone block. And I could maybe make some mossy cobblestone or something in the future, but for now I thought that this was a really cool block to use for the path. Beginning to run really low on just normal oak wood, so decided that before I built anything on this area, that I could use it to get some oak trees and begin to get some more wood so that I don't have to worry too much about it and don't have to go running through the dark oak forest to find the few oak trees, but to use some of that hardened obsidian to create my nether portal and go and get some of the resources that I would need. Usually when I go into the nether for the first time, I start with some really useful items like trying to find a fortress or maybe trading with some piglins or things like that. However, this time I knew exactly what I needed to go and get and was only going to be in there for a short amount of time to collect it. As soon as I got into the nether, I realised that I didn't have a shield, which for me is something that is 100% necessary most of the time and definitely in the nether. So once I had a little bit of a look around, I ran straight back into my portal to go and craft myself a shield. I felt so much safer to go and face the hoglins, so I went straight back in to collect some of these crimson vines, which are going to be forming quite a big part of my enchanting cottage. So I needed to collect quite a few, and I was very cautious to look around and not walk off the edge or get attacked by one of these guys. This is exactly why I 100% needed my shield, as they are so much easier to fight when you have one and don't have to worry about them hitting you constantly. You can see here that I definitely managed to kill quite a few of them as I was eating the raw pork chops. But with everything I needed, I ran back into the overworld and managed to dodge back to my cottage, and then went to go and collect some of the oak saplings that I had planted previously. I wanted all of the cottages to vaguely resemble one another whilst having their own unique thing going on about them. So obviously I needed to use the dark oak pillars combined with the same oak walls that I'd used on my original cottage. This is something I think I'll be keeping fairly consistent throughout the rest of the cottages I build because I think it ties them all together really well. But I can still do something different with the roof and interior and things like that. You can see as I use deep slate as the detailing for the roof, whereas I used that as the main component in my original one. And then I got to use these really pretty crimson planks for the roof. I thought that this would be a really good idea for my enchanting cottage, as the sort of mystical elements of the nether and this beautiful purple block matched really well to the enchanting table and the general vibe I was going for as a bit more of a spooky, different kind of cottage. And I really do love the way that it turned out because this is such a pretty block. I think it works great as the roof with all of the same blocks that I used for my original cottage. I finished the roof. I had to try and work out how I was going to add windows and general details to it. I liked the idea of this window that was kind of off from the door, and I liked these crimson fences as another addition, and also wanted to keep the glowberries and the general vines in the same way that I had done with my original cottage. I feel like this window looks a lot better though, and is really cute, whilst also being quite similar to my original cottage and very different. I also love the way it looks looking across from the other side of the river. And finally, I of course needed to add my chimney and campfire because I can't create a little group of cottages without having all of the chimney smoke coming out of them because it looks really cute. And I of course needed to add my second campfire to make more smoke. But then I could get on to what the cottage is actually going to be used for, which is my enchanting table, which I was able to craft with the diamonds and obsidian I got earlier in the video. Whenever I don't quite have all of the bookshelves I need yet, I create a little dirt outline so that I can see where they need to go in the future. I then created another window because it was quite dark in the cottage, and that really helped. And I then added more to the front, including these things that I got from the Nether. And then I could take a step back and look over the cottage I had built. Really is just an episode of fixing all of the little things that had been bothering me, including this little patch of gravel. Although it completely evened out, I wanted to replace everything with dirt because I felt like it would make a lot more sense and I could change the curve of the river to make it just a little bit more appealing. Then I added some of this coarse dirt, which I like to make to add a little trodden path, and just got some regular Minecraft path through the shovel and added some of the leaf litter, which is really becoming one of my favourite little additions to Minecraft in recent times. And I was able to put in a couple of bookshelves that I'd made. Although I might come back and add some more details to the inside of the enchanting cottage in the future, it's mostly done, save for the more bookshelves I need to add. Then I was able to watch the sunset and really admire the firefly bush. I've used these non-stop since they were added. I think they're so cute, even in the daylight when you can't see the fireflies, but especially at night. And then in the morning, I went to find another set of pillagers. They seriously keep coming back so frequently, and this was the biggest fight I've had with them in a while because they got into a bit of a fight with the llamas that had spawned with a wandering trader. So at the same time they were attacking me, they were also attacking the llamas, and unfortunately one died without me being able to save it. I then got to check on what trades the wandering trader had for me, and they were honestly all quite terrible, or not very useful for me at this stage. So I then decided to start on a little tiny garden next to the Enchanting Cottage, which I made predominantly of leaves, bamboo, and then some big rose bushes, which ended up massively reducing the amount that were there. And it ended up looking something like that, although you can't see it too much in the pouring rain. I'm just going to keep making bookshelves every time that I build up the resources that enable me to, so I'm going to keep breeding up my cows and mining my sugar cane so that I eventually end up with enough. I then found this little cave that I really wanted to go and explore, as I'd done loads of strip mining but hadn't gotten into any real caves and hadn't found one that I thought had enough potential to keep exploring. But this looked pretty good, so I wanted to gradually make my way down on a staircase, which took a little bit of time as I kept mining out the dirt, but then got very excited when I saw a lush cave. I always think that with all the glowberries, it offers a really nice entry point that allows you to start lighting the place up, as there are already areas you can go in. I found some axolotls, which is also really exciting, and I might want to do something with those in the future. I haven't really spent much time collecting them before, so I could also try and breed some. But I continued to explore across the cave and found ones in both pink and brown, and then happened upon a geode and also a tiny zombie. I was not very happy at this because I was very intent on going into my geode and collecting some of the crystals, and this took a little while to kill because I was slightly worried he would be able to kill me. Then I managed to climb up into the geode because that was what I was really interested in and was very excited to see one, which it was really pretty because some of it was still going back into the lush cave. So there were glowberries hanging down from it, as well as these beautiful amethyst shards, which looked so pretty, and I really love finding geodes, even though I don't often make a spyglass, but I'll have to in the next episode. Here's everything I collected from the cave, and all in all I'm really happy with the amount of iron as well as other things I managed to get. Thank you all so much for watching this video, especially if you made it all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and a comment. I really appreciate every single like that I get, as well as every single view. Also, you can let me know what you think I should be doing in the next episode. I'm definitely going to be building a few more structures and making the area look a lot nicer. But for now, that is all we've got time for. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. In the meantime, you can find me over on Twitter or on Twitch, where I occasionally stream. Thank you.